Composer Sofia Gubaidulina met virtuoso violinist Gidon Kramer by chance in a taxi in 1978. After that meeting, she felt compelled to write her first violin concerto for him. She sought inspiration by watching him perform live on many occasions, and then shared with a friend that Kramer's theme is a sacrifice, the musician's sacrifice of himself in self-surrender to tone. Her impressions of Kramer led her to think of the piece as an offering, both from the soloist and from the composer. Her friend then suggested that she use the King's theme of Bach's musical offering. That theme was given to Bach by King Frederick II of Prussia in 1747. The king presented the theme to the famed improviser, and it is a long, complex theme, but Bach was challenged to improvise a three-voice fugue as he was inspecting the king's newly invented forte piano. Bach was able to improvise a three-voice fugue, but then the king challenged him to improvise a six-voice fugue on this same convoluted theme. Bach asked for a little bit of time, went home, and then 2 months later published what we now know as the musical offering. The title Offertorium is a play on that connection to Bach's musical offering, but it also acknowledges Gubaidulina's deeply held religious affinity, as Offertorium is part of a religious service, and it also acknowledges that epiphany that she had had regarding the sacrifice of the artist to music. Gubaidulina herself explained how the theme of sacrifice informed the variation of the King's theme. She says, "I used this theme to symbolize the idea of sacrifice. At the beginning of the Offertorium, Frederick's theme is given in its complete shape. The first section consists of several variations where the theme offers itself, sacrificing one note from the beginning and one note from the end in each variation. In the climax, just one central note of the theme is left. Frederick's theme gradually returns in the third section. The second section is devoted to images of cross-suffering and the Last Judgment. The main event of the concerto, the Transfiguration, is in the coda. Frederick's theme appears in its complete shape, but in retrograde motion, and nobody can recognize it." The orchestra presents the theme to open the concerto, and then the soloist emerges out of the trill, ruminating and rhapsodizing on the trill itself. Throughout the concerto, Gubaidulina uses these identifying marks of the theme: the angular leaps, the long chromatic descent, and that penultimate trill as tools for variation, thereby creating simultaneously variety and cohesion. The second variation here is the first time that notes are being offered up. You can see that the note values are precisely as they appeared in the original theme. The subtraction of the first and last notes is therefore very clear. The only change is that the final trill has been moved back one note. Again, the theme is presented using the Klangfarben melody, that the melody is divided in different sections of the orchestra. By the next variation, Gubaidulina begins to vary the rhythms, and the structure of the theme itself begins to disintegrate as it is being offered up. However, she still gives textural clues to herald the advent of the new variation, so the theme is still discernible if you're looking for it. Moving to rehearsal 25, at this point in the disintegration, we see her using textural variations with tremolo to highlight the angular shape of the theme. And also, she divides the string section, so as she presents the notes of that descending chromatic line, each voice can sustain, and so that descending chromatic line becomes a cluster. Moving on to the third section, where the theme is beginning to be reformed. Again, the textural clues help. She typically presents the theme in the full orchestra, and then variation takes off in the solo violin. So when there is an extended solo violin section and then the full orchestra comes back, that's often heralds a new presentation of the theme, and that is the case here. She always uses the exact pitches. She never uses transpositions to present the disintegration or reformation of the theme itself. Now here we see this central hub of the theme being reformed in retrograde following an extended unaccompanied solo violin section. It's first in the horns and then reiterated in the violins with trills. Now comes the transformation, where the theme is presented in full in retrograde. And this is how it happens in the concerto. The violinist is completely alone. The rhythms are not at all in retrograde. The rhythmic use is completely free.